We're here for another edition of the Outlook series, and I'm your host, Mike Lippis. With e-commerce order rates surging, distribution centers are bustling. Fulfilling all orders accurately and on time is critical to achieving customer satisfaction. Voice capabilities can drive DC performance, and when they're leveraged beyond just picking to other workflows, operational accuracy and efficiency improvements can multiply. Consequently, operation professionals are putting to work strategies to minimize error rates for the entire order management process. Leading firms are gaining a competitive edge with voice automation for any process that includes data entry. Now joining us to discuss optimizing distribution processes with voice automation is Bob Bova. Bob is the President and Chief Executive Officer over at AccuSpeech Mobile. Bob Bova, welcome to the Outlook series.
Always a pleasure to be with you, Michael.
Hey there, Bob. Now, as far as innovation is concerned, how much innovation has the retail industry seen over the last year or so?
The retail industry has seen not only innovation, but a real evolution. You've got companies that now have what we call the Amazon effect. The innovation that they introduced was primarily robotics, and they have really doubled down on that technology. The challenge for the standard retailer is that they don't necessarily have the economic resources that someone like Amazon has. So that piece of the business, from a retail perspective, are looking for solutions that they can afford and they can also implement quickly, that are going to have an impact specific to their customers' experience. And that type of an innovation technology for traditional retailers that are making the foray into home delivery and also delivering, being able to order online and deliver in the store. They are looking for as many technologies as possible that make sense and that are cost effective, that are going to continue to meet customer expectations.
Now, how important are experiences and fulfillment for brick and mortar stores?
Well, like we were just discussing, the paradigm of customer experience, especially direct consumers, has changed significantly, primarily because of COVID, but also because of companies like Amazon. The traditional brick and mortar stores now have an entirely new perspective on delivery and fulfilling those customer expectations. So being able to still have your customers, from an experience perspective, being satisfied is now a double-edged sword. You want to be able to have the type of products that customers really want, but you also need to be able to provide a delivery ecosystem and, believe it or not, a returns ecosystem that is going to meet their expectations. And those things have become extremely important for companies that were traditionally brick and mortar that are now moving forward in the new ether environment, as it were, of online shopping.
Now, should retailers implement personalization across all channels?
I think they have to, and I think they have. The retailers have learned through watching this evolution of online purchasing and expectation that each individual customer can have the experience that they want. There are so many interesting software packages. For instance, people can actually go to a site and choose something that they may wear and actually give them their sizes and such, and they can do an avatar and see how it looks. There's the amount of opportunity that's available right now for retailers to be able to give their customers a satisfying and unique experience is really, really interesting. And I think that those types of solutions that are going to continue, as you say, to personalize the experience for their customers are going to continue to come to the forefront. Again, as expectations continue to rise in terms of delivery, the ability to personalize. And again, that also helps with returns, because right now returns are a huge challenge for retailers because so many people are buying things online, and if it's just the wrong size or it doesn't fit right or the wrong color, those things are coming back. So the way that they can drive lower returns is to implement what I would consider targeted and successful personalization in their channel.
Now, to what extent is e-commerce fulfillment driving warehouse automation?
To a huge extent. And again, we get back to fulfillment and returns. So e-commerce now is an entirely new, well, it's not new. A lot of retailers have been very strong e-commerce vendors. A company like Cabela's was way ahead of the curve in terms of e-commerce fulfillment. They had websites and they had their catalog and in-store, so they were always looking at a triumvirate of channel fulfillment strategies. The e-commerce now is an absolute gotta-have for retailers for fulfillment. The technology that they are utilizing to automate that is really a large spectrum of tech. There's applications, there's voice automation, there's robotics, there's cobotics, there's all kinds of really interesting things, and it all really leads itself to the digitization of information so that that customer experience can continue to be utilized in a way that, or learned in a way that they can continue to improve it. And we're going to see some really interesting, I think, software products that are going to continue to push that. The e-commerce fulfillment is going to be a lot of edge-based data input that's going to be basically conglomerated into cloud-based information that retailers are going to be able to use to understand the consumer behavior of their customers. It's really an interesting time.
Now, why would a traditional retailer develop an ecosystem?
They have to have an ecosystem because now people are buying so many different ways from so many different websites, and the ability to fulfill that and have those partners and trust those partners not only for fulfillment but again for returns. That ecosystem and those partnerships really need to be trusted so that not only can they fulfill customer expectations, but also from a corporate perspective, when they're taking it back or their reputation, that ecosystem, they can really lean on those partners to assist them in being able to develop, a two-way street for both delivery and returns. It's really important. It's a good question.
Now, to what extent are analytics and automation transforming retail?
In so many ways, but the biggest thing is customer expectations and experience. We talked a little bit about edge-based utilization of technology to input data, and then taking that data and utilizing automation to make sure that it happens more productively, with fewer errors, effectively, efficiently. But then that information being able to be presented into a cloud-based architecture where they can run AI, they can run analytics. What is selling? What is not? Why are we getting so many returns on this and not that? And again, being able to plan for what I would consider small challenges like that, and then also being able to the big challenges. What if there is a major cataclysmic event? How do we plan for it? And that type of information is vital for folks who want to run a successful retail establishment at this point, and we're going to see more and more of that too.
Now, what exactly is order fulfillment?
Basically, order fulfillment can be delivering something to a customer consumer. It can be fulfilling something to more of like a warehouse for distribution. It can be a third-party logistics company. I mean, there's all kinds of orders that need to be fulfilled. You have the challenge right now with a lot of the tankers. I live in Southern California, and if you go over Pacific Coast Highway, you can see all the the ships out there with all the containers on them waiting to come into the port of Long Beach. The thing that's really interesting is that that's order fulfillment too. So order fulfillment happens at the container level, at the customer level, at the warehouse level, at the store level. So it is such a complex, web of networks and people and technologies and software. So it becomes more and more imperative for the experts in this field to be able to be on top of the solutions that are going to help them work through this a little bit better, because order fulfillment right now happens on so many levels, and the density is so widespread that it is the biggest challenge, I think, right now in the entire industry.
Now, how are picking approaches implemented?
The interesting thing about picking, there's so many different types. There's piece pick, case pick, pallet pick. Every single customer, manufacturer, 3PL, does it their own way. They've got their own optimized process and their workflows. Those approaches are really predicated on the ability to be agile. They need to be able to turn on a dime. You need to be able to change it if you have a new customer or a new product line or new SKUs and new customers, and you want to be able to make sure that your picking approach, your application, your strategy for, again, that piece of the fulfillment pipe has the ability to be flexible. That flexible and agility is what's really pushing edge-based architectures for a real flexibility in terms of being able to fulfill orders and also to do things quickly and without any errors. And that's probably the biggest. That's the biggest difference that we see, because before it was very, very traditional. Picking was very, very specific and was hard to change, and it would take a long time and a lot of money, and those days are over. It just won't cut it anymore.
Will modern voice picking improve order fulfillment then?
Absolutely, because again, it is an edge-based architecture now. You can deploy one device at a time, one warehouse at a time, one shift at a time, and you can make changes in the exact same fashion, so testing is much, much easier, and it doesn't take months or years. Now you can do it in hours. So the effectiveness of the flexibility and agility is really compounded by the architecture of the edge-based voice automation. So the whole point is to be able to be right there on the edge, being able to do exactly what you need, and then when things change, or all of a sudden you've got a whole new shift, or all of a sudden, for whatever challenging reason that may come up, that type of a technology is easily adjustable so that the customers can get exactly what they want in terms of fulfilling their orders. Yeah, it makes a big difference.
Now, how important is accuracy to order fulfillment?
That is the question of the hour, because the returns now have become absolutely gigantic for companies. When people used to go to the store and try something on, they would know what fit they liked, that they would take it home. Now, with all this fulfillment that's being done off of websites and all the e-commerce stuff, the number of returns is significant. Now, one thing to understand, that in terms of that accuracy, there are a lot of times now when the accuracy is perfect, right? You're actually shipping exactly what the customer ordered or exactly what the store ordered. You're shipping it, but when they finally see it, if it was an e-commerce order, maybe it isn't what they liked, or maybe they don't like for whatever reason, and they return it. And those returns, that reverse logistics capability, has become extremely important. So any time you can improve the accuracy, whether it's correct or incorrect, has a significant impact on the reverse logistics for any big retailer. And those costs, if you can bring those down, that drops right to the bottom line. So yes, the accuracy is extremely important, especially with rising returns in the current retail environment.
What is the impact of fulfillment errors made as part of the order fulfillment process?
Well, as we were just discussing, I think the big thing is, even if the e-commerce vendor provides the customer with exactly what they ordered and they return it, that's not an error. There are times when potentially the wrong thing could be shipped, but with the way that things are implemented now, that happens less and less. Everybody wants to get to the 99.99% when it comes to errors. But again, the biggest challenge right now is being able to take those orders back, restock them, re-put them at the lowest possible cost. So that really is the challenge right now for fulfillment, even if it's not an error, even if it was shipped correctly, was exactly what the customer ordered, taking those things back, that's where the costs really are starting to get more significant.
Now, what are operations professionals doing to minimize error rates?
They are taking steps to automate utilizing voice and better processes, better workflows on returns. They want to be able to get those products back into stock, back where they belong, so that they can push them out the front door again, so that they're properly disseminated to the market. The big thing now is to look at those reverse logistics technologies and also utilizing all the capability and information that they have from what they're gleaning from the edge. Again, we talked about data entry and what's happening. When you follow a product throughout the entire process and you see, okay, this came back, okay, is that a product that comes back a lot? Is it something that we're receiving a lot about? That type of information that you're getting from the analytics of your cloud-based information is what's going to help drive, okay, so what do I need to do on the purchase end so I see fewer returns? Is there something that we could be doing, some type of description? I mean, you can really get very, very granular with that. So those are some of the things I think that you're going to see that professionals are going to use, because the tools are going to be available for them to do it. So.
Now, when it comes to processes that include data entry, how can voice automation be helpful?
Well, especially the automation piece, when you are voice automating, receiving, shipping, picking, cycle count, whatever, the whole idea is to make it so that the information that's input at the edge is correct. And by predetermining through automation when something is said, that multiple things happen, that the process is accelerated, that you eliminate the finger data entry so that there are no errors from that perspective, immediately you're going to get a jump in accuracy. That's just going to happen. So the whole thing with automation is to, especially voice automation, is to eliminate the user having to use. That's the biggest thing.
Now, how does voice automation, specifically help with error reduction?
The biggest, again, as we just discussed, the ability to take away physical finger input. The whole idea is to be able to use your voice to see what you see, to use barcode scanners to scan so you know exactly what your location is, exactly what the SKU is. All of that information can be voice automated so the person doesn't have an opportunity to make an error. If that information is already in the automation process as being put in properly and we know exactly what the answer to the question is, there's no reason for the person to take time to look down to try to input that information and make a mistake. The whole point is to make it so that they can do their job. They can pick, they can sort, they can whatever it is that they want to do, and they're just using technology. They're using voice automation. They're using scanning. They're using the visuals, right? They've got everything that they need now so that the less information they actually have to input, the better. And what we try to do is try to eliminate it. We try to take a 25-step process and make it a 4-step process.
I see. Now, how can managers gain visibility into which pickers might be having trouble?
Well, it's not a matter of having trouble. Sometimes folks are more visual learners and some are more auditory. So now a nice combination of voice and vision is available. But the biggest thing now is, for instance, AccuSpeech Mobile, we now provide our customers with reporting. Everything that we touch, every SKU, every location, every place in the warehouse, we now collect that data and put it in reporting formats that are tailored to every individual customer, so they can see by person, by shift, by SKU, by row exactly where problems might be. It could be that there's a problem maybe with the network in a particular area. Maybe there's maybe there's a dark spot. Maybe there's something that they need to work on. But that capability now is available through AccuSpeech Mobile with reporting that can be customized specific to every individual customer and what they're seeing. So again, we want them to be agile in terms of making changes. So by providing this information, they can continue down that road of continuous improvement so that they can do what they need to do to help their workers, have a better experience.
Now, can managers get real-time data indicating potential problems?
Absolutely. The reporting that I just discussed from AccuSpeech allows them real-time what's being picked or being shipped or what's being received. All that information is available real-time. And now we're actually developing a dashboard so that it's super real-time. But all that information is gathered as it happens. So people can be as proactive as possible when they see potential challenges, in terms of that particular application in the warehouse.
Does it make sense to incentivize the workforce by providing higher levels of compensation at higher pick rates?
That's a great question. I have seen areas in various organizations where they incentivize, and the people that want to take advantage of that benefit do so. So it's not a panacea for your entire workforce. Some folks will just, they'll do their work and they'll do their job, and as long as they're effective and they're picking to rate, that's fine for them. But then there are others that will fully exploit any bonus capability and really be cooperative with the technology that helps them do a better job and do a faster job and take advantage of that. So it varies company by company. There's a lot of different things that need to happen, but I have seen it work extremely well in a number of places.
Now, could you compare AccuSpeech Mobile solution to a labor management system?
I would not. Labor management systems are extremely sophisticated, and what they measure and how they measure it, it's actually, some of them are unbelievably impressive. Mm-hmm. Our reporting capability is very simply everything that the users pick, touch, any part of the process where the products and the data that we have access to, we can take that data and put it into a customized report so that we can show our customers what's happening by user or by product line, but it's very, very focused on what we touch. Today's labor management systems are extremely sophisticated and offer, so much more information than we ever could. So they're really kind of two different animals. I have too much respect for good LMS systems to say that we come anywhere close.
I see. Now, what if operations pros are already realizing high accuracy rates? Can they still do better?
Again, the only way to really know this is to do a proof of concept. There's always room for improvement, and depending upon what type of business that this potential customer may be in, there is always a potential to streamline workflows and processes. So while we never guarantee anything, we try to say that in general, these are the levels of improvement that we see ordinarily, but we have come in to many instances of customers who, they feel that their accuracy rates are great, and we help. And there are others that, that are really terrific, and maybe we move the needle just a little because they've already got such a great workflow. Plus, it may be a limited set of what's being picked, but all we can do is share what we've seen in the past from a like customer or 3PL or manufacturer, and like I say, we do a proof of concept and we see if it makes sense.
Now, can you share a use case with our audience?
Sure. We've got quite a few very large customers that utilize our technology. For instance, I mentioned Cabela's earlier. They've got 5 distribution centers, and we're in all of their stores. We're helping them utilizing voice automation for 16 applications that really increase their accuracy, and they use it receiving, shipping, all picking, and they are, in fact, in the middle of doing some really exciting new things with newer technologies that we're very, very proud to be a part of. They continue to, what I would consider, lead the way in the e-commerce, multi-channel, retail environment, and they're always looking to improve. So very impressed with them. But we've really helped them with accuracy and productivity so they don't need as many seasonal workers, and they have become such experts with our technology, they are now voice enabling and voice automating their own thing. So it makes it really, really interesting, quite frankly.
All right, so would you like to add anything else to our discussion before we wrap up for today?
Just, if people would like to see how voice automation works in their environment, we're happy to send, if it makes sense, once we have an initial discussion, to send one of our installation engineers to go to their site, take a look at some of their workflows, do some voice automation right there on site to have a take of how it looks, and to see if potential customers can take advantage of voice automation. The ability for us to do this, again, because we're device-based and we're on the edge, becomes very, very simple. And when potential customers see it on their own network with their own application, their own workflows voice automated, then all of a sudden the lights really start to come on. They think, gosh, we could use it here, we could use it there. And then when you show them that they could have multilingual support on multiple devices, you can switch from languages, you can have it. And that way you can take your your initial project and put it into different languages, so that when you expand, it's a whole lot easier to put it exactly the way you want it, where you want it. So we highly suggest reaching out to us if you're interested, because again, this is a 4 to 6 week implementation, so it's very quick. You'll see results within 2 months.
Alrighty, now where can our audience get more information on AccuSpeech Mobile's solution for reducing warehouse fulfillment errors with voice automation?
Well, you can go to AccuSpeechMobile.com, and there's all kinds of information, videos, customer testimonials, and a myriad of ways to contact us. If you're interested in a proof of concept or you just want information, I suggest that would be the best way.
All right, Bob, now I certainly appreciate you joining us here again for another edition of the Outlook series, and wish you the best of luck with your endeavors over there at AccuSpeech Mobile.
Thank you so much. Always good to be here.
Thanks for joining us today, and be sure to log on to the Outlook series site for your business and technology news.